So there are two types of MBAs one can do. As I said, deferred or after work experience. I spoke to this person. He is a student. He did the admissions process with us. And he said, when I was at HR college, there was no such guidance. And that is why probably he worked, and he's worked for a few years. This is Rishant. You can see which college he's from. And very recently wrote the GMAT, got a 750 score. And Indian School of Business, which is the #1 MBA in India for working professionals. And he has also made it to Kellogg and LBS. Hey, hi.
Hi. How are you?
Finally, we get to talk. I'm good. And
Right.
we are at your college. So I think this should be exciting.
Absolutely.
So I just repeat, Rishant has made it to 3 business schools. All of them ranked really, really high. One is London Business School. The other is Kellogg, I guess. Yeah. And the third is ISB. So let me ask him how this came about and what your entire intent was. Let me just mute everyone first, and then you can just talk. Unmute and talk.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I think how I would like to do this is I'll just run past my journey since college, and hopefully you will be able to resonate with it as well. So I think about 5 years back, I was where you are at HR college. And at that time, I hadn't quite made up my mind that an MBA is something that I want to do. Naveen sir would recall that I used to play cricket, and I did sit for placements. And in fact, I sat for placements for a company, keeping in mind that that company has an A division cricket team. So then I sat for Tata Capital's placement and I got the offer. I started working with Tata Capital. And after HR, my focus solely was, apart from obviously managing work, I was trying to make a mark in professional cricket, make a career there. And right before COVID, I had actually decided that I'm going to put down my papers and focus entirely on cricket for 2 years. But then COVID came about, and by about, I think, May, there was no sign of COVID going away. And that was when I decided that, hey, why don't I utilize this time to take the GMAT exam? And I had put no goal in mind at that point. I had not thought about which school I want to get into, or what is it that I want to do with this score, or is this going to be my final attempt at the GMAT? I just wanted to take the GMAT very sincerely, of course. And so I studied for about 4 or 5 months. And on 28th October, I took the exam, and I scored a 750 on my first attempt. And at that point, I could not comprehend the gravity of scoring a 750, but I did realize that it opened a lot of doors for me. And you can see now that 2 years later, when I could make up my mind as to what it is that I want to do and where I see myself and which school I align with the most, I'm sitting with offers from, I'm very grateful for these offers from ISB, LBS, and Kellogg. And so that has basically been my journey. What I would like to say is that it is important for you to take this exam. And I would just say 2 things about this exam that really stood out for me. People don't realize that this exam is not necessarily about getting into a college, right? That is only one thing. But this exam really opens doors elsewhere as well, things that and doors that you don't realize while you're in college. So if you're working in a group like the Tata Group, there's an exam, or there's a selection process for TAS. TAS stands for Tata Administrative Services. It is probably one of the finest leadership programs that the Tatas have. And in fact, most Tata leadership across Tata companies that you would see today are TAS officers. Even they take the GMAT exam as a primary criteria for selection. And similarly, there are multiple other corporate groups which, once you venture into, they will give weightage to your GMAT score quite a bit. Secondly, I would just like to say that this exam, unlike CAT or any other, I would say this exam really tests who you are. It's not simply about how smart you are or how well you know things, but it is really about how you perform under pressure. And it's a great test. Those 3 or 4 months that I spent preparing for the exam have shaped who I am in a lot of ways. And the mock tests, the main exam that I took, I think it taught me a lot in a lot of ways. And it's important that you start early, I would say. Right now you're in your second or third year of college, I presume. You have a lot of time at hand. Now when I've started working and I look back, I used to think that when I was in college, I was doing everything. I used to think that I was packed throughout, but retrospectively, I can think about so much free time at hand where I could have and should have taken the GMAT. And why I'm saying that is because if you start with the GMAT early, what it gives you so many advantages. Let's say you're in your second or third year right now. You're still very much in touch with studies, right? So getting into the groove and getting into the rhythm of taking the exam is much easier for you at this point of time. Secondly, when you start working, you will have far less time at hand. Like I mentioned, right now is a great time. You have a lot more time that you can dedicate to studying for the GMAT, and hence you can take the exam with a little less pressure. Thirdly, I think starting early, it's a beautiful exam, given the fact that unlike CAT, again, this exam score is valid for a period of 5 years. So you can take the exam right now. And that gives you a runway of maybe working for 2, 3, 4 years and then applying to a school. And what that really does is if you've taken your first attempt right now, two things can happen, right? It may not go your way. And if it doesn't, then you have so much time and so much scope for taking another attempt, really digging deep into what it is that you did wrong and then find the answer and do it properly. And secondly, if you've done it right now itself in your first attempt, then just think about the time that you have at hand, think about the advantage that you have over the other people that are applying with you. For me, it became a massive advantage because I took the exam in October 2020, and this cycle was when I was applying. So when I started writing my applications to schools, when I started researching for schools, people were still in the mindset of just getting GMAT out of the way. And it is probably one of the biggest hurdles. And so I would say that if you start early, by the time that you actually have to apply, you can focus on the other things that really make up your application, right? You can focus on developing your story. You can focus on really figuring out which school is right for you. So with all of this, I would say that I think you should definitely start with the GMAT. At least one attempt is something that you should look at taking immediately because you're in the
Just to add to this, Rishant,
yeah.
A lot of people these days are writing the GMAT because they want to go for a deferred MBA immediately after this and
Right.
a master's program. So then anyway they have to write. So this is another
Right.
reason why it has become even more popular among college students these days. Just to in case you're applying later, then whatever you said is so properly summed up. I must
Right.
say you're very clear in your communication. Very, very, very nice to see this.
Right.
And any other point you would like to add about the
I think
applications?
right. So with regards to the GMAT itself or applications otherwise.
No, but general applications as to what goes into making, some people at 750 will not make it, and some people at even 730 mail will make it, or 770 also
Right.
some will not make. So what really got you the admits, and what got you a scholarship, and how did this happen?
Right.
100% scholarship. Just give me some. Give everyone some idea, please.
Right. Right. So I think when you're targeting merit-based scholarships, obviously one of the most important things is your academics. Having a perfect CGPA will help you a long way, showing that consistency. So most colleges abroad do not ask for your 12th grade or 10th grade marks. Only ISB in India is doing that at this point of time. So having good scores, consistent scores throughout your undergrad. If you're pursuing an MCOM or any other degree, if you're doing CA, CFA, try to score well. And then, of course, having, let's say, I would say 750 is probably the starting point, especially if you're looking to apply abroad, especially if you're an Indian male, then I think you definitely should be aiming for 760, 770, 780, something of that sort, if you want to secure a scholarship of a hefty amount. So academics is one thing. I think demonstrated leadership is very important. When you're getting out of your college now, look for jobs, of course. Look for roles where you get a chance to really show who you are. You get a chance to show initiative. You get a chance to lead a team of people, and there is demonstrated growth and demonstrated initiative and demonstrated leadership in your work experience. It can be anywhere. It can be a startup. It can be an established organization. What matters is not which company you're coming from, but more what you really did at that company. And of course, if you're still in college, if you're in your second year or in your third year, ramp up on those extracurricular activities. I think they play a big role. They want at the end of it, these programs are looking at all-round leaders. So they want people who can manage. A, it's a very rigorous program, and B, of course, it demands that a person has shown certain traits in the past, because like HR, a Kellogg or an LBS also has n number of student activities, student clubs, different things happening on the campus, and they want you to be involved. They want to see whether you've been involved in the past and whether you will do that again. So I think these are three things off the top of my mind. Of course, academics, then having an all-round profile with different things, can be co-curriculars in college, can be some social work. Having I'm sorry, having said all of this, please bear in mind that don't just participate in things for the sake of participating. You will have to show that you have done something significant when you participated. And at the same time, you will have to show that, and you will have to vouch for that during your interviews, right? They can pick anything off your resume, they can pick anything off your application. And so it's not easy to just faff around. It's important for you to be involved. It's important for you to be an all-round personality. And I think you'll be good. Sandeep sir is always there to coach you, and his team is wonderful.
So he also worked with my colleague Autry, and who's the admissions consultant. And I believe, I mean, the working relationship has been excellent, and we see the results here with one of the scholarships, and he's vying for other 2 scholarships as well. I hope they come through. Thank you, Rishant, for your time. I'm really, really glad that you could make it here. Right.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And we'll press on with the session. Yeah, please reach out to him on LinkedIn, and he should be happy to help your college mates.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Take care.